What's up, everybody? Anthony here, Empire Music, empiremusic.com. Phone number at the shop, 412-343-5299. Today I'm showing you a new addition to the American Vintage 2 lineup. This is the 1960 Precision Bass in what I think is the coolest classic colorway you could possibly get. I am biased because I own one very similar to it, but Olympic white, Red Tortoise guard. It looks so good with the rosewood board. So 1960 P bass. I had a chance to see this bass at the NAMM show, and Fender was there, but they had a little private area that wasn't open to the public, but us dealers could get in there. So Joe, Justin, and myself were walking through, and I remember passing this thinking, oh cool, they're doing a custom shop in my favorite colorway. Lo and behold, it's an American Vintage 2, and that all kind of tracks, because I always say, if you're looking for a slightly more affordable way to get into the vintage-inspired instrument, American Vintage 2 checks a lot of boxes for it. So, kind of the engine that drives it is the pure vintage P-bass pickup in it. I feel as though all of the pure vintage pickups across the line, Tele, Strat, P-bass, J-bass, whatever, the era that it kind of sits in, it encapsulates a lot of that era. So we're thinking early 60s. It's going to compare, I think, very favorably to any vintage P-bass pickup on the market, including our Empire 58 pickup, the hand-wound 62, the straight machine-wound 62 custom shop pickup, the 57. All those have their own voicings, and this, again, kind of does a little bit that all of those do. So it's like a jack of all trades for that late 50s, early 60s kind of sound. But doesn't sound like homogeneous or super, it still has a nice amount of character to it, which is cool. Alder body on the great colorway. God, I just love looking down at it. Volume tone, so super simple P-bass control layout on it. It has a 1960 C-shaped neck on that. I'm telling you, this is so similar to what we see on our Empire 58. They're modeling this after a 60s oval C, and which makes sense because the 60s oval C kind of fits so many different player profiles, I think, from a comfort perspective. So this kind of checks that box. Great fretwork on this. Really check it out. This beautiful slab rosewood fretboard on it. And Brent and I, who's looking right at me, and I'm looking right at him. I think I'm looking at you. I act like I'm looking at you, but I'm looking right at Brent. We love the clay dots. It looks so good, like it matches the back of the neck. Love that. And that, you know, when I was thinking about why I love clay dots so much, is when you get the tint on the headstock and the back of the neck, the clay dots like blend right in. It really pulls that kind of color scheme through. I really like that. Bone nut, 1 3/4, reverse gear tuners, like it's all the vintage stuff just in a non-relic package. It has a nitro lacquer on it. I'll say that's something that I experience is different. This is still nitro, yes. It doesn't quite feel like the nitro finishes that come out of the custom shop. I can't even describe that in a succinct manner that would make any sense to you. But if you've played a custom shop instrument and you've played this, you know these feel really good, but you know that lacquer and the overall feel just isn't quite at the custom shop level. You can tell this is a more mass-produced instrument, but they're very consistent. It sounds really, really good. So let's dive into some tones. Full volume, full tone. I got no effects. I forgot, I have the wrong kind of pick. It's okay, we're gonna get through it. I mean, if I'm gonna use having the .73 pick as my excuse for poor pick playing over a .88, I think I got bigger problems than that, right? All right, so full volume, full tone. Really hear where that rosewood, I play so many basses with maple, so many P basses with maple, I can really hear immediately how that rosewood impacts the transient, the attack, the bloom of the note, the sustain of the note. This pickup, again, while it's not doing anything super specific, it's just a really nice vintage-inspired P-bass. And we're hearing this in a solo fashion, right? I have no instrumentation around me. I think sitting in a mix, I think some of the lack of nuances of these basses, or any mass-produced instrument like this, gets very much buried even more. So you really end up with that true to vintage kind of sound out of it. And here when I lay back on the attack, let's see how that, I always say the responsiveness of the Fender Custom Shop stuff is where the real difference is there. It's really the real beauty of those live. Let's check that. Let's play a little lighter. Let's go to a heavier attack. Full volume, full tone still. Super even sounding. You heard how some very, very poor pick playing there, I will admit. This .73, man, yeah, I just can't function with this thing, right? Yeah, that's the problem. Finger style, exactly what I thought. Pick style, exactly what I thought. The rosewood mellows it out. Again, this pickup's not quite as punchy as we see out of some of the custom shop stuff, but still holds its own. Let's roll some tone off of that. Let's roll a considerable amount off. Let's go like, it's like 70% on tone. Dare we do it again? It is still very, very responsive. I mean, it compresses good, gives me a lot of what I want out of a vintage-inspired P-bass, which is very different than what you get out of a modern P-bass. They still have that woodiness, that roundness to it, but the vintage, slightly underwound pickups, they compress in a different way. And the more I experience, I've been doing these videos on P-basses now for God, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, the more I experienced them, I realized that the details and the nuances just between models and eras is really in the mid-range. And that's where I think this has that kind of scooped P-bass mid-range character to it, which is pretty cool. So high marks out of a line that I already really, really like and think there's a lot of value to it. The American Vintage 2 1960 Precision Bass. We're just showing it off in a new colorway and probably, in my opinion, the best vintage colorway. Olympic white, red tort guard, can't go wrong. Visually, with the rosewood board on that, sonically, not too bad either. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.